Hello, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the remainder of July or whenever this reading may find you. I trust that you'll receive this message exactly when you're meant to and at the time that it is uploaded. We're already midway through the month, and I know this has been a big one for all of us, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what messages come through for you. I will start with some readings from the Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle. This is by Kelly Smith. I do always have the link to all of the oracle decks that I use down below in the description box. So if this deck is speaking to you, you can find that down below. Let's bring in some Palo Santo to raise our energy. You don't have to be here in the presence of the Palo Santo. It's not the smoke or the smudge that raises our energy, but it's the spirit of the Palo Santo tree. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Sacred Palo Santo. I have spent a lot of time in your energy this month, Pisces. If you've been here for a while, you know that I have a number of Pisces in my life, in my personal life, a number of very strong Pisces placements with some of my very close family members. And of course, you know, the North Node is in your sign this year. So yeah, you're going through it, as am I. I'm a Virgo, and the South Node is in my sign. So I'm just looking at the overall energy for the month of July, the remainder of the month. I'm getting the celebration card for you. Okay, so this is really important to take some time out to celebrate how far you've come. I know that we can always look at, you know, how much further we still have to go, the goals that we've set out for ourselves, but really it's important this month for you, Pisces, to take a moment and focus in on what have you overcome. I know you've overcome so much, but if you really look at it, you can see that you're not where you were before. You're not reacting the way that you used to react to certain triggers and situations and people and things like that. We'll look at a couple other things today. We'll look at your challenges. We'll look at how to align with your highest path, your highest purpose, your highest timeline. And if you're joining me for the extended reading at the end, we'll also pull some additional cards from the animal spirits, from the Moonology deck, and we'll also get an archangel and a crystal message for you from the Inspire, Change, and Healing deck. There will also be a link down below for joining me on the extended. When you join the extended reading, you also join the Sacred Self-Empowered Community membership, where we meet once a month for a sacred ceremony and once a month for a group reading. So there's an opportunity for some one-on-one time. Now, if you're new here, I'm Jenny. I'm a shamanic healer. I'm a women's coach. Inside of my 16-week program, Nourish Your Temple, I help you to heal your worthiness wound, whatever caused you not to love yourself and love your body in the first place. And I know that this is a big thing for those of you who are Pisces. Loving your body, it's a big thing for all of us. Loving ourselves. We all are traumatized children walking around in adults' bodies, after all. And I really love to weave shamanic healing into my coaching programs. So the Sacred Self-Empowered Community is a great place to get started if you're not ready for the 16-week program. But let's get back to the reading. Let's see what is going to be the biggest challenge for the Pisces. I almost said Scorpio. I wonder if some of you have some Scorpio placements. I wonder if there are even some strong Scorpios in your life, partners, children. I'm getting coworkers. Just be mindful of where the Scorpios are in your life, because I feel like that's going to come up for you. When I was asking about challenges, what are the biggest challenges for you? That's when Scorpio came through. So you may even want to look to see where Scorpio falls in your own chart. You might even be watching for somewhere else in your chart, your sun, your moon, your rising, your Venus, or anywhere else. So if you are a cross watcher, let me know down below in the comments, where are your Pisces placements? Where are your Scorpio placements? I'm getting your biggest challenge came through a source. So this came upside down, reversed. Every reader is different. I believe that when we receive a card in reverse, that's like spirit giving a great big exclamation mark at the end of a message. So if this is coming in as your biggest challenge, I want to remind you to connect with source in whatever way that looks like for you. You might have a meditation or a journey practice that is consistent that you're doing every day, or for me, twice a day. I like to journey morning and night, when I wake up in the morning and before I go to bed. But if you are somebody who is not quite being consistent with your journeying practices, what I would encourage you to remember is that we often tap into this meditative state without even realizing it. I remember growing up, we would say like, oh my gosh, you just gapped out for a second. Like, where did you go? You weren't here for a second. That's because we were dipped into that meditative state. We often dip down, of course, when we first wake up in the morning and we're still kind of in that dreamy state, or right before we go to sleep at night when we're in that dreamy state, but we're not quite asleep yet. When we're walking in nature, particularly if we've got no phone, no distraction, distractions. Anytime we're like in the shower or in a bath without a phone or a distraction. We often meditate when we're doing things that we don't have to think about, even like washing the dishes or gardening or things like that, especially gardening, because we're grounded at the same time. And I know for many of you, Pisces, you are someone who can easily tap into that meditative state. So I want to remind you, with source coming through, that it's easiest to connect when we are grounded. And I mean, this coming from an earth sign, okay? Grounding is so important when it comes to connecting, when it comes to connecting with your spirit guides, your spirit allies, when it comes to connecting with your higher self, messages from source, God, the universe, whatever you want to, whatever resonates with you, I should say. Now, how can the Pisces collective move through this challenge? What can help them the most connect with source in the weeks ahead? We do have a new moon coming, so if you are somebody who takes part in new moon rituals, you can absolutely take advantage of this energy to sow your seeds of intention, what it is that you want to call into your life. More groundedness, more connectedness, more clarity. I'm getting for a lot of you more clarity. It feels like there's something that you want to overcome, but you're not quite sure if you're missing a piece to the puzzle, it feels like. And often we know what to do, we just often don't do it. There's that little bit of resistance. And where does resistance come from? Partly the ego, yes. People talk about that all the time. You know, the ego throws self-sabotage and unhealthy coping mechanisms into our path. But also, we all have blind spots for ourselves, right? Some of that can come from our wound energy, some of our childhood wounds, some of the wounds that we have been maybe or maybe not working on healing. So it feels like there's an opportunity here in the month of July for you to be healing some old wounds. Past life, I'm getting too, for some of you. Past life wounds are coming up. Okay, so environment. When I asked what will help you to overcome this challenge in the month ahead, I'm getting environment. So some of you may need to purge, do a deep clean. I personally am of the belief that it's important to smudge our house on a regular basis. I train in shamanism from the Q'ero people in Peru, and what my teacher shared with me, I've shared with you guys many times before. If you're new here, you'll hear it for the first time, but if you've been here for a while, you've probably heard me say this. The Q'ero people actually consider Westerners to be quite disgusting because they consider energy hygiene to be equally as important as physical hygiene. So if we don't smudge our home, that's like we never cleaned our home. Could you imagine if you had never swept your floor, mopped your floor, if you'd never dusted, if you'd never put away your dirty dishes, then yeah, that's going to be pretty gross. Well, it's the same thing with energy hygiene. If we have never smudged our home, then I want you to consider that every single argument, every single tear, every single experience that you've ever had inside of your home is still there. I like to smudge my home once a week. I do prefer to do that with sage or agua de Florida water. There's lots of different ways that you can smudge your home. Bells are effective, rattles are effective, drums are effective. There's plenty of ways to do this, and you can always seek some assistance if this is not something you're totally comfortable with. But absolutely take a look at your environment. It says now is a good time to clear, clean, and declutter your environment. Every single item in our home has energy as well. Many of you know that I have been manifesting selling my home, and we did sell it. So I have been purging like crazy. I had a huge moving sale, and I brought an entire truckload of stuff to a thrift store to donate. And let me tell you, we've been here for almost 8 years, and there were some boxes that we had never opened since when we first moved in. And when I opened up those boxes, it's like the energy of the items filled the room, and I had to smudge while I was purging because the energy was just so much. Again, bells can be really effective. I just want to remind some of you of that, because sometimes people are a little offended by the smell of sage, or they're not sure. They feel like it's appropriation to use sage, but I really feel like we can appreciate cultures and use sage. Sage is used all over the world, not just in North American indigenous communities. Sage is used all over the world, and for myself, I have no problem using sage so long as I come into right relationships, which means to me showing gratitude for the spirit of sage for helping me to cleanse my environment. You can always send me a message or comment below if you're looking for advice on how to smudge your home, but definitely there's something here about your home environment affecting your ability to connect with source. So is there something that you can do? And if you can, if it's overwhelming to you, delegate. I personally have a hard time accepting help or asking for help, but since I am in a time crunch now, it's a very quick sale. I am asking, well, I'm not asking actually, I've had a few people offer me help, and usually it's really challenging for me to accept that help, but I've had to, put my ego to the side and say, yes, actually, I could use your help. Thank you for offering. Could you please come over on such and such date and help me purge whatever room it is or pack whatever room it is that I need help with? What does the Pisces collective need to know to help them align with their highest path, their highest purpose, their highest timeline in the remainder of July, please? Okay, I'm getting limiting beliefs. So whatever you believe is holding you back right now, that is just a limiting belief. And I want to dive into this like pretty deep here, okay? Maybe I'll even pull a clarifier for this one, because limiting beliefs can show up in so many different ways. Many of you know that I was a fat loss coach for over 7 years, and I had so many women come to me and say, Jenny, you're giving me too much food. I have always taught macros and flexible dieting, and I really believe that most of us women, I primarily work with women, can absolutely lose weight eating somewhere between 1,800 and 2,100 calories. Everybody's different, and personally I prefer to count ingredients rather than calories, but I do think it's important to hold ourselves accountable by tracking our food so that we know what we ate and how it made us feel and how it either helped us reach our goals or hindered us from reaching our goals. And many of these women would be like, oh my gosh, you're giving me too much food. I thought that I had to eat 1,200 calories to lose weight. I thought that I had to eat 1,500 calories to lose weight. I thought that I had to cut carbs to lose weight. Well, carbs are primarily food from the earth, or vice versa, I should say. Food from the earth is primarily carbohydrates. So all fruits, all vegetables, all grains, those are all carbs, and those are all food that Mother Earth provides us. So cutting carbs, not so much. And then we've got a lot of people who have limiting beliefs around what they're capable of. When I work with business clients, I do a lot of business readings, and they will say, okay, well, I'll be ready to do it after I take this course. I'll be ready to start coaching women after I have finished this training. I'll be ready after I do this, after I do that. No, honey. You are perfectly capable of helping people right now exactly as you are. And then we've got the money stories. A lot of us have money stories. How were you raised? What beliefs were you raised to have around money, around how much it takes, how much effort, how much work it takes to make money, around what type of people have money? I remember growing up, my parents taught me to believe that, hey, guess what? If somebody has money, they must have done something not so good in order to earn that money, or that you have to work hard to get ahead. I had family members who would work from morning until night, 7 days a week, and barely skim by. And that taught me that the only way to get ahead in life was to hustle and grind. And if you've been here for a while, you know I did hustle and grind for a number of years. I was a really young mom. I worked 3 jobs when my kids were little. When I started my business, I worked between 80 and 90 hours a week. It was absolutely insane. Money does come a little bit easier to me now that I have removed some of these limiting beliefs. So you might want to ask yourself, Pisces, what limiting beliefs are holding you back, and where do these beliefs come from? Most of our beliefs are not ours at all. Most of our beliefs come from our upbringing, our society. The social media right now is really having a huge effect on a lot of people's beliefs. Like I said, I'll clarify that. So let's see what else will help the Pisces collective align with their highest path, their highest purpose, their highest timeline for the remainder of this month, please. And again, I'm feeling like I really want to say again that there's an opportunity here for you to really harness that energy of this upcoming new moon. Now, when I'm clarifying, I'm getting career transition. So, it makes sense that I brought up business clients. Many of you, I feel, are yearning for more purpose, more passion, something that's more fulfilling than what you're currently doing. You'll have to let me know in the comments if this is resonating. Are you feeling unfulfilled in your current career? Or if you're not here for career, this is really about your passions, what you want to be known for. Maybe some of you make art. Actually, I feel like a lot of you do make art, music even. I'm seeing you making things with your hands. Some of you using things like like driftwood. I like to make things as well. I make this ritual spray. I put some essential oils and Florida water in it, and I love to use that when I'm doing things like this, when I'm doing readings, when I'm doing ceremonies and rituals, all of those things. You are at this space where you're yearning for more fulfillment in your life, and I encourage you to take whatever steps you need in order to do that. I am available for business readings. You can find the link down below in my description box there if that's something that you're interested in. But what I really encourage you to do is go back to that message about source here, okay? Because you have all the answers within yourself as well. When it comes to journeying and meditating, I really like to do a little ritual before I do any of that work to make sure that I'm getting the answers that I want. To make sure that I'm getting the answers that I need as opposed to the answers that I want. So what does that mean to me? Well, I like to light a white candle. I like to light an incense. I like to do an offering to the earth or to my spirit guides and allies. I like to smudge my energy. I like to smudge my room, wherever it is that I'm journeying. And I like to really make sure that I've done energy hygiene. Energy hygiene to me is 3 steps, and I teach this in all of my programs. Cleanse, ground, protect your energy. That's energy hygiene, those 3 steps together. And doing this before any meditations and any journey work helps me to receive the messages that I need as opposed to the messages that I want, because, that ego's pretty tricky, right? We can go in and we can try to control the outcome of the journey, but doing energy hygiene ahead of time can absolutely help us to not control it so much, but really allow it to flow. Let's get a final message. We're going to have 2 final messages here. Let's get a final message for the Pisces Collective before we go into the extended reading. That one that popped out, I believe when a card pops out of my deck, it's a secondary message. So the one that I choose is the primary message. What is the primary message to summarize all of this for the Pisces Collective in the month ahead, please? It's the final message. Oh, you're getting 3, my goodness. Okay, so wow. Number 1, you're getting old soul. Okay. So you can access all of the wisdom, all of the knowledge, all of the medicine, all of the magic that you have accessed from your past lives. Maybe some of you had past lives as a shaman, as a mystic, as a healer, as a psychic, as a witch. There's all these different past lives we have, good, bad, ugly, everything in between. And this card reminds us that you have ancient wisdom within you and you can access that at any point in time. I'm also getting the boundaries card for you. So some of you may be lacking boundaries right now. Maybe you're saying yes when you really want to say no. Maybe you're saying no when you actually want to say yes. A lot of this comes from people-pleasing tendencies. And where does that come from? I already touched on this. Our wound energy, not believing that we're worthy enough. We don't want to rock the boat. Good girls keep quiet. And I know not all of you are women, so please take that with a grain of salt. I know that this affects all of us in many different ways, but this is really calling for you to set up some boundaries. And the thing is, a lot of the times we have a lot of resistance to putting up boundaries because we're worried about what people in our life are going to say or think about it. And a lot of the times the people that we're worried about are people that are not showing up for us anyways. We might want our mom to support us, but when we put up a boundary and say, hey, if you can't call on a regular basis, then I'm not going to come visit. If you can't check in on my kids, then I'm not going to spend my one and only vacation coming to your house. But these boundaries are so important because they really protect our peace, right? At the end of the day, it's most important that we focus on ourselves. Yes, some people will start to fall away from our lives when we put up new boundaries, but let me tell you something else. The people that are meant to be in your life, the people that are meant to be in this new chapter, the people who are meant to have access to this new, more healed version of you, Pisces, they're going to rise up to meet those boundaries because they love you, because they respect you, because they support you. And then the secondary message that came through with that was new door. So there are new opportunities coming your way. Be opportunity ready here. You have to be open to receive, and putting up these boundaries are going to help you do that. If you're always saying yes when you really don't have the capacity, when you're depleting yourself for other people, putting yourself on the back burner, doing everything that everybody else wants, but not spending enough time for yourself, we're not necessarily opportunity ready. We might miss some of the opportunities that come our way. Now, if you are feeling my energy, if you're picking up what I'm putting down and you're new here, I would so appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. Let me know down below in the comments how this is resonating with you. And of course, if you like this video, please do hit that like button. You guys know how the algorithm works. The more people who like it, the more people who will see it. And then the more likely I am to show up for other readings. I will clarify this. I'll pull a couple more cards from the Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle to clarify all of these messages. And then I'll add some new messages in the extended reading. So I do hope to see you.